empire that housed one of the largest military forces in the ancient world. A city that took on the Roman Republic for 23 years in what is now called the Punic Wars. A war regarded as one of the longest and most contested in history. But in 247 BCE, there was a birth that took place. The birth of a son belonging to a Carthaginian general. It is this child that will grow to dedicate his life to fighting the Roman Empire. This child will be introduced to the Roman wars and be invited into the Carthaginian rivalry against the Romans and their struggle to expand. A legendary strategist and capable soldier, his leadership and courage empowered his small army to win a fierce battle against 60,000 Roman troops. On this episode of Be Thou Legendary, we will explore what makes his individual so legendary, Rome's greatest enemy and worst nightmare. This is Hannibal. From 264 to 146 BCE, the Carthaginians engaged in a series of 3 wars against the Roman Empire. This was a fight for territory and control of the Mediterranean. With Carthage at the defense and Romans on the offense, Roman expansion felt like a disease spreading uncontrollably. Beginning with the control of Sicily, Carthage remained anxious to conquer it to maintain its role as a dominant sea power in the Mediterranean. The First Punic War was a struggle to establish control over the islands of Corsica and Sicily. Carthage intervened with a dispute that took place near these islands that ultimately led to a conflict with the Romans. This war ended with Rome taking over Sicily and Corsica, marking their beginning as a naval and land power. The Second Punic War involves a revered Hannibal, who invaded Italy and acquired great victories. It ultimately ended with the defeat of the Carthaginians and Rome in control of the western Mediterranean and majority of Spain. After nearly a century of warring and control between Carthage and Rome, the Third Punic War ended with the final destruction of Carthage. Carthage was enslaved and the Romans took over what remained of the Mediterranean. Hannibal belonged to an upper class or an aristocratic family. He was the son of the great General Hannibal Barca of Carthage. The name Barca means shine or lightning, a name he ultimately grew into as years went on. As a child, the long and grueling rivalry between Carthage and Rome was embedded into him since he first learned to speak. Hannibal's father brought him to a temple in Carthage to swear eternal hostility to Rome. It was here that marked the beginning for a lifelong mission in restoring Carthaginian greatness and humiliation for the Roman Republic. It was here that loyalty was developed in him by his father, a loyalty to his homeland, Carthage. In exchange, Hannibal grows to impart that same loyalty to his army, regardless of the different cultures and customs they belong to. With an undying devotion to Carthage and to see a world free of Roman rule, Hannibal's forces never succumbed to the Roman ideal. This was a loyalty that will carry them for the next 23 years of war against the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. Now Hannibal climbed the ranks of the Carthaginian army quickly. With his father to thank, he learned to be a leader and developed a conviction for the cause driving these Punic Wars. At 18 years old after his father's death, the next 8 to 10 years consisted of studying, training, and ultimately concluded by his beginning as a Carthaginian general. Hannibal goes on to conquer several cities in the name of Carthage. Hannibal eventually is seen as a threat to the Roman Empire. Rome then attempted to conquer an area near Carthage that only provoked Hannibal's interference. This introduced the Second Punic War. However, Hannibal's accomplishments are notably seen from his efforts in the Alps. In his effort to take the war to Rome, Hannibal leads his army through Spain, Gaul, and over the Alps and into Italy. Before quickly advancing to Italy, Hannibal and his army came against the harshest weather conditions imaginable through the Alps. The Alps consisted of tall mountains with difficult terrain and weather. It was Hannibal that performed the unthinkable. It is disputed by historians about how many troops exactly made their way through the Alps and how many died. An estimated 40,000 to 90,000 Carthaginian soldiers came with Hannibal through the Alps, along with 37 elephants at his disposal. These were Hannibal's warring elephants. After marching through the Alps, Hannibal lost a major percentage of his army, having only arrived at Italy with around 20,000 soldiers and less than a handful of elephants. Rome proceeds to halt Hannibal's efforts in Italy, causing both armies to arrive to a stalemate. Several years pass between Hannibal and the Roman army as they battle to the end. The Roman army proves to be a powerful force, and the war concludes with Hannibal retreating to Carthage after a 15-year clash with Rome. Hannibal was defeated and forced to succumb Carthage to a peace treaty with Rome. Carthage gave up control of Spain and all its western Mediterranean control to Rome. But yet, we arrive again to the same question as before. Was Hannibal legendary? He belonged to a family that was marked by its military achievements. He continued the legacy set forth by his father and earned respect during a lifetime of service to Carthage and the struggle against Rome. Hannibal can be considered as one of the greatest commanders-in-chief due to his victories, his attitude, and courage. His intelligence and delivery of war strategies can be considered unmatched by any other living person of his time. Hannibal was one of the greatest threats to the Roman Empire, and he went on to play a fundamental role in the Punic Wars. But in the end, Hannibal's efforts led to continued Roman occupation. Hannibal eventually escaped with his life, while still harboring a desire to defeat Rome. In his latter years, he was made a civil judge in the government of Carthage. Hannibal was accused of encouraging a representative of Syria to engage into another war with the Romans. The Romans again proved victorious in that battle and negotiated peace terms with Syria, which in turn requested Hannibal's surrender. Hannibal moves on to another area to again attempt another unsuccessful war with Rome. Details of Hannibal's death are not absolute, but reports say that to escape the grip of Rome, Hannibal killed himself by drinking poison, taking place in 183 BC. Hannibal did whatever it takes to fulfill his father's dream and set free Carthage from the vice grip of Rome. Even though he failed, his conviction for the cause was unwavering. Hannibal reminds us to always fight for tomorrow, to take initiative and never reveal your plans to the wrong people. I believe he was legendary. What do you think?